Good morning, friends. Welcome to Go Long, a show that focuses on local sports and faith, includes thought-provoking faith-based interviews with area coaches, players, and sports figures, unashamed Bible discussion, and the one and only, it's back, the popular and entertaining WOYK scoreboard. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B.
Good morning and happy Father's Day to those fathers out there.
I almost forget that. Thanks for being with us because we've got a dandy. Central League's Vice President Judy Cutright will be with us this morning. You know, I think most of us in the York, Adams, and Central Pennsylvania can recall times sitting at a local Sandlot baseball game, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but you talk about bringing back good memories, right?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, where hot dogs still might be $1.50, you know.
I don't know about $1.50, maybe $2.50. Who knows?
Well, maybe we've done a lot of talking about the Central League and the Susquehanna League interleague play and what that means to them. So it'll be fun to talk with again Central League's Vice President Judy Cutright this morning after the first break. And we're also going to give you the Go Long High School baseball wrap-up as we look at how things finalized in the high school baseball season in the York Adams League, and also an opportunity to showcase some of the standouts from the York Adams League as well. As Paul addressed believers in Rome and explained his mission in the book of Romans, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes." Well, that is our mission on Go Long as we celebrate the accomplishments of our local athletes, coaches, and others in sports. We do so in an unashamed, faith-based way. Go Long, a unique and insightful show. We'll have a deep dive into faith, local sports, and our community. This is a show, my friends, that connect us as a community of believers. Throughout the show, please, you may send your prayer requests to 717-350-8591. In fact, you can even send those prayer requests to us throughout the week, and our community of believers, our prayer warriors, as I like to call them, will pray for you and your loved ones and your needs that you have. You know, it's red hot, Ed Hot. It's downtown Ollie Brown. This is the Grand Salami of faith-based sports radio shows, brought to you by Sports Radio WOYK 98.9 FM, 1350 AM, First in York, and First in Sports, and our friends Kelsey Jean and Kylie Jane at Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents. You wanted it, you asked for it, and you're going to get it. This is the WOYK scoreboard. Alrighty, first in the boys volleyball Go Long game of the week. The Central York Panthers matched up with the Shaler Titans in the PIAA Class 3A semifinal. This match played on Tuesday evening in Altoona. Shaler, just so you know, the number one ranked team in the state, and Central York, well, I'm sure you know this by now, the Panthers have been a boys volleyball factory for the past 40 years, and they have been part of 13 PIAA state championship games, winning 7 PIAA state championships since 1975.
In a hard-fought contest, Central fell to Shaler in 3 sets by scores of 25-22, 25-18, and 27-25. For the Panthers, setter Lance Schaefer handed out 27 dimes and 4 blocks for his day at the office. Libero Ryan Roberts booked 11 digs, and senior Donovan Burris with 8 kills, and senior Mason Boyer led with 8 kills and a pair of aces.
Now you can stick that in a mason jar and put it under your front porch. 27 dimes, that's $2.70 worth of assists, by the way.
Absolutely. Right. Yes. So congratulations to the Central York Panthers boys volleyball team for another successful season as they finish with a stellar 19-3 record, including the York Adams League Championship and silver medalists in District 3. Well done.
Absolutely. In the Go Long American Legion baseball game of the week, Redline jumped all over Shiloh by a score of 11-1 as they improved to 4-0 early in the season.
For Red Lion, Connor Lawrence had a pair of base hits and 3 ribbies. Lane Hewer with a pair of base knocks and 2 ribbies. Hewer also blanked Shiloh for 3 shutout innings to start the game. In the loss, Ian Thompson had a pair of base hits for Shiloh as they fall to 1 win and 4 losses.
You know, and just so you know, and probably a sign of the times, the York Adams League, American Legion League, has only 6 teams this season: Redline, Shiloh, New Oxford, Northeastern, Hanover, and Gettysburg. The Snacktown boys, you know, they got a late start in their Legion season as they played deep into the PIAA Class 4 tournament before falling in the quarterfinals.
That doesn't necessarily mean that these young men aren't playing baseball, though. A lot of them are playing for some of the men's leagues teams.
Well, they are. They're playing men's leagues. They're playing travel ball. They're, playing, for example, the Young York Revolution has a team. And, and a lot of the better local players play there. AAU baseball has become popular. They're playing ball. Well, the other thing is these teams then pull in players from the other teams as well. So, Redline now has players from Eastern York, and at least Eastern York, and I think another team as well. So they're pulling these guys in. So in some ways it's made the play, probably a little more concentrated in terms of having the better players involved. So good baseball. Just a sign of the times, right?
Absolutely. Other American Legion games this week. On Wednesday, the Battlefield Boys of Gettysburg downed the Snacktown Boys of Hanover by a score of 7-4 to improve to 2-1. Logan Baker with a 3-run 2-bagger in the bottom of the 6th for Gettysburg. Chase Roberts with a 3-hit day, including 2 doubles and 3 ribbies for the Snacktown Boys.
And the Circletown Boys stormed past the Nor'easters as New Oxford picked up the home field W over Northeastern 7-4. No need to be coy. Roy Baker had a day at the plate for New Oxford, going 2 for 4, including 4 sweet-tasting barbecue ribs. A.J. Bachota and Gavin Hafley, each with a pair of hits for the winners. Quinn the Eskimo Schindler with a pair of base knocks for Northeastern. I'm going back to the 70s for some of that stuff.
Yeah, you are.
Be coy, Roy. Just set yourself free.
Yep, you're dating yourself there,
buddy. Roy. No need to be, Baker, attaboy.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, let's go to hardball action.
Okay, now wait a minute.
Well, what's Quinn? You remember the lyrics to Quinn the Eskimo, by the way?
Yes, for Quinn the Eskimo gets there, everybody shouts for joy.
Alrighty.
I remember that, but not many people do anymore, Wayne.
Oh, they should.
Alrighty.
All right, before we get into the Central League, Susquehanna League, we talked a little bit about this, but reflect a little bit. What does that local Sandlot baseball, do you have any memories? Do you have any thoughts about, what kind of memories does that bring to you now?
Well, it brings memories of me dragging 2 toddlers up and watching you play baseball a lot of times, and just hanging out with all of the other young moms at the field, and having our kids running after foul balls and having picnics and chatting after games and so forth. We spend a lot of time at baseball games. If we weren't at the baseball field, we were probably on a basketball court as our kids were growing up, when you think about it.
Yeah, these players come not only from central Pennsylvania. Many of these players travel up and down the East Coast to play in our 2 leagues. It's very rare. It's outstanding baseball. I remember in college baseball, our college baseball coach would tell me, Owen Wright, who coached at Elizabethtown College and then went on to coach in California. But he told me that he actually recruited high school players who played in the Central League. Now, that's where he would go watch players. Now, first of all, his season's going on during the high school season.
So he has trouble getting out.
But secondly, that's he wanted to see the players who were playing at that level. So it's good baseball. It's flat out good baseball. It's a good night out. We'll talk about that again.
And it wouldn't be unusual, the home games that I'd come and watch you play were up on top of the hill there in Glenrock, in the Glenrock Park, and it would not be unusual to have a couple hundred people at some of those games. They'd bring their lawn chairs and they'd string out and they'd have their favorite seats. There were, the regulars would sit at the same place every single time.
Yeah. No, it's a great night of entertainment. And you could go for free. Now they pass a hat and you want to throw a buck or 2 or 3 in there, go ahead.
Right.
But it's just a fun night out with quality baseball. So let's hear about it, Becky B. What happened? Yeah, go ahead.
And the other thing I remember is sometimes our kids, they'd run after foul balls, and then they take them to the concession stand and they get a quarter for the ball, for returning the ball.
I wonder what that's up to now.
I have no idea, dear.
It might still be a quarter. I don't know. Right?
But there'd be some nights that they'd come home with $5-6 if they didn't spend it all at the concession stand when they were up there.
Well, now one more thing. As a boy, going to Glen Rock's games down in Centerville, which is, that ball field's no longer there, was a victim of Hurricane Agnes.
In 1972, yeah, that was a while ago, Wayne.
But the baseball bats that we used were bats that they stuck in the old barrel, the garbage can. It wasn't even a garbage can. It was one of those barrels with steel barrels with the lid cut off. And when they broke a bat and shattered it, they stuck those bats in the barrel, and that's what we used. I mean, we took those bats home, we glued them, we put screws in them, we put
tape them up.
Well, yeah. And can you picture that old friction tape? It's different than the smooth electrical tape you have now. It was friction tape that was sticky. I mean, it was like homemade pine tar in that friction tape. But they're the bats we used, and we loved it. You're right, and if a ball ended up in the Centerville Creek and was waterlogged, that was our baseball also, so yeah, now it sound like old farts, I guess, but all this is intended to say it's a good night out. So Becky B, give us a rundown.
Alrighty, in hardball action in a Central League and Susquehanna League interleague matchup, the Jefferson Titans improved to 8-3 as they blanked East Prospects Pistons 4-0 on Tuesday evening in the Go Long men's baseball game of the week.
For the Jefferson Titans, on the hill with the pill, right-hander Brian Bossum hurling a complete game gem for the shutout win. Bossum allowing just 2 base hits, whiffed 5, and issued no free passes. That, my friends, that's how you win games, is not give up free bases.
That's right. And still for the Titans, Campbell Soup Brusmans ripped 3 hits and 2 RBIs, and Sam Crater with a pair of base hits.
Alrighty, hey, Becky B, you talk about Campbell Soup Brusman. What's your favorite Campbell Soup? Mine's got to be tomato. By the way, I beat you to it because and you can't use tomato or tomato.
Alrighty, my favorite homemade soup is your soups that you make homemade.
No, we're talking favorite Campbell soup.
Campbell soup just doesn't taste the same after that, but I do like myself a good cream of a good cream of celery soup, or probably cream of clam too. That's a good one.
Alrighty.
Hey, WYK listeners.
Hold on here a second. We're getting a little carried away there.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to it here. Alrighty, also in Central League, Susquehanna League interleague action, York Township improved to 4-8 with a 3-1 win over the Vikings. Ethan Sachs picked up the W for Township. Sachs blanked the Vikings for 6 innings while giving up just 3 hits. Jay Dimmler with a perfect 3-for-3 day at the plate. Hey, it was nice having Darrell Henry interject there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll talk about Darrell in just a little bit.
Yes, it was Stoverstown Tigers over the Windsor Cardinals 5-2 as Dow Harang tossed a complete game, allowing just a pair of runs on 3 hits as the Stoverstown Tigers improved to 6-3. Another Central League win in interleague play.
Alrighty, the Coon Rads that I used to say, improved to 7-5 with a 5-2 win over the Pleasureville Hawks in interleague play. Austin Powers Dunlap with a W for the Coon Rads. Dunlap on the hill for 6 innings, allowing just 1 earned run.
The Tool Time Boys from Mechanicsburg shut out Jacobus 9-0. I wonder if Aunt Nellie was there.
Yeah.
To improve to 9-1. Christian Foltz and Teed Wirtz combined for 17 Ks in the shutout win in interleague play. Luke Wagner with 3 hits for Mechanicsburg, including a 2-run moonshot in the bottom of the 3rd.
Aunt Nellie was not there. In the Aunt Nellie drag him by the ear, take him out behind the woodshed, and give him a good old-fashioned whooping game of the week. The Manchester Indians spanked the Hellam Express 13-1 in just 5 stanzas of play in interleague play for the Indians. Adam Kipps with a pair of hits and 4 ribbies to lead the Manchester Hit Parade. Austin Allison and Joe Capabianco also with a pair of hits, and Pete Capabianco with a 2-run blast in the bottom of the 5th.
And the Mount Wolves improved to 9-1 with an interleague win over the Stewartstown Vets 10-0 in 5 innings. Cody Bridden with a solo shot in the bottom of the 3rd, and Mark Burnside picked up the W.
Then on Thursday, Mount Wolf pounded the Coon Rads again, 13-0 in Mechanicsburg. Shellacked Windsor 14-1 in interleague play. And in case you're keeping score at home, both Mount Wolf and Mechanicsburg with a 10-win, just 1-loss record after those pair of wins.
We've talked a lot about the Central League and Susquehanna League in interplay the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
Thursday, the Central Yorks had Central League had the advantage, going 5-3.
Alrighty, we'll talk with Central League's Vice President Judy Cutright after this first break.
Okay, now let's celebrate the accomplishments of some of our local athletes.
Alrighty, hey, Dallastown's Nick Parker. I watched this game Friday night on ESPN, pitching for the University of Virginia in the College World Series being held in Omaha, Nebraska. Daggone, Nick and the Cavaliers held a 2-run lead after 8 innings, but Florida, with 51 wins, just 15 losses, used a 3-run rally in the 9th to defeat Virginia. Virginia now with a 50-win, 14-loss record. The score was 6-5 in the World Series opener for both these teams. Nick Parker from Dallastown left as a pitcher of record after 6 innings of 1-run baseball.
Wow.
The right-hander sat down the final 7 batters he faced. He produced his 6th quality start of the year and 3rd in 3 postseason starts. Parker produced 12 fly ball outs and only needed 1 strikeout in his 56th career start, tied for the most among active NCAA pitchers. This is Dallastown native Nick Parker. He pitched 5 or more innings for the 10th time, and for the 7th consecutive start, he logged 6 or more innings for the 7th time. He has pitched into the 7th inning in 6 of his last 7 starts.
That's an Iron Man there, isn't it?
Absolutely. The Cavaliers now dropped into elimination game. They'll play today against TCU, who lost 6-5 to Oral Roberts. That was a great game, too. Oral Roberts going long late in the game. In the opening game of the College World Series, that game was on Friday as well. First pitch today, 2 o'clock, ESPN, as Virginia will take on Oral Roberts. Well done toward Nick Parker, right?
Well, let's take a look at a little bit about some of Nick Parker's history.
Okay.
A lot of us remember him from Dallastown. Doesn't seem like that long ago that he was out, but in college, he was named to the College Baseball Newspaper National Team of the week for the week of February 20th and the week of May 1st. He had his then career high with 10 strikeouts on his debut on February 18th versus Ohio, and he struck out the last 7 batters he faced. His career high, he struck out 12 batters against number 20 Duke on April 29th.
Incredible.
Now, as a high school kid, he was a 3-year letter winner at Dallastown, and he was ranked as a high school senior as the number 8 right-handed pitcher and the number 43rd overall prospect. Not a real hard thrower,
No.
but his balls move, and he has really, really good control of his balls. He helped Dallastown. They won 3 county championship titles while he was a letter winner there. He played for Team Pennsylvania in the 2016 Prep Baseball Report Futures game, and also has some brains with it because he was a 2-time member of the Distinguished Honor Roll as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Friday night watching him pitch, you're right. First of all, he nibbled around the corners a lot, and every now and then got laid into accounts, throws in the high 80s, but every ball, even his fastball, has movement. I mean, and I talk about movement, I'm saying 4 or 5 inches breaking away from pitchers. This is his fastball. A lot of guys will call it a cut fastball or whatever, but his ball just moves. So anyway, congratulations, Dallastown's Nick Parker, as their Virginia continues, and they'll play today at 2 o'clock against Oral Roberts.
Yes. Alrighty, and now let's look at somebody we interviewed last week. Matt O'Brien on the 16th participated in the Nike Outdoor Nationals meet at the University of Oregon in the 5,000-meter run.
Okay.
Matt was the county champion, the District 3 champion, but now running at the national level. And the finals of that. Now, the first place winner won in a time of 14:28. The 2nd through 6th place winners, there was less than a 2-second difference with those places. Matt ended up just 0.3 hundredths of a second out of the medals and 4th place, but ran a 14:43.83 to end up 4th place at the Nike Nationals.
Yeah. O'Brien, a Susquehanna graduate, just graduated a couple weeks ago, but well done.
Yes,
Becky
absolutely.
B, also this week, as we celebrate the accomplishments of our local athletes, Kennerdale's Chance Marsteller. Tell us about him in just a second.
Oh, man, I remember that name, yeah.
Well, at high school in Kennerdale. He was 166 wins, 0 losses.
How is that even possible?
Won 4 state gold medals from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior years. A Kennerdale Ram. Tell us about him now. Chance Marsteller back in the athletic news.
Yes, congratulations to Chance for making the USA Wrestling World Team as he defeated 6-time world champion and former Olympic gold medalist Jordan Burroughs in 2 of 3 matches last Saturday. Marsteller will now represent the United States at the World Championships in Belgrade, Serbia this September.
Wow. The
You
York
know, it's
Revolution.
nice to
Yeah.
hear. It's nice to hear that he's back wrestling again. You know,
Yep.
he had quite the outstanding career, and you know, from what I understand, he's really being a good mentor at Southeastern now too.
All righty. The York Revolution scored 9 unanswered runs to turn a potential blowout loss into a close game late last night, but they fell to Long Island 13-11 at Wellspan Park. The Revs' 5-game winning streak now ended, but they are still in first place in the North Division. They're up by 1.5 games. York will go for a 6-series win in the last 8 tries in the rubber match today at 2 p.m. On the mound for the Revolution will be Pedro Vasquez. He is 2-0. He'll match up against Long Island's Scott Harkin. You can get tickets at YorkRevolution.com. You can call 717-801-HITS, and you can get them in person at the Shipley Energy Ticket Office. Daryl Henry today with the call at 2 p.m. I encourage you, what a great Father's Day gift to take your dad out to the York Revolution game today, right?
I'll tell you, they are fun games too. Not only is it good baseball, but there's some entertainment there too, and fans really get into it. It's
All
a
right.
fun place.
Yep. Hey, let's go long. Today we're going to talk about spiritual growth. And here's what made me think about it. I think so much in sports we hear people say, and this is a quote from Pat Riley. Remember Pat Riley?
I do remember Pat Riley.
You know,
Yep.
Pat Riley said, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And I think that's true in sports, right? You need to continuously get better because somebody else is going to be is half a step behind you.
And there'll be somebody
better.
working hard to overtake you too.
Yeah, Bo Schembecker, who was the Michigan football coach, said every day you either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. And so true. So we're talking about spiritual growth and the importance to growth. And we're going to talk a little bit about it here in the first segment. And then we're going to bring it back a little in the third segment as well, just because we're running out of time. We had a lot to do in the scoreboard show today.
We did, yeah.
But when you talk about spiritual growth, first of all, you may say, well, how do you grow? How do you grow spiritually? And I would say we're going to do it in 4 ways, perhaps, and you may have more. But first of all, do it through prayer, and we'll talk about Bible verses to support this. So prayer is one way to grow spiritually. Another way to grow, have your spiritual growth is walk the talk, right? Through living a life of virtuous life. The third way is to read Scripture. And, and then, again, I just think that it's very, very important then to ask God to help you grow spiritually as well. And here's why. Because when we look to God for His help, not only in our time of need, but all the time, when we go to God in prayer and just quiet reflection, I think it helps us grow in awareness of God, and in a sense, it activates just His grace in our life. And we begin to notice His presence in our life. I think we notice the gifts more. We have more of a gratitude in our life. And so I think all those things. Becky B will read some Bible verses, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back to this in just a little bit later in the show. But go ahead. How do you grow your spirit? Again, Pat Riley, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And I don't know if that's true from a Christian standpoint, but
Well, prayer is kind of like your private conversations with God. And not always private. You know, sometimes we do prayer as a family or prayer as a body of Christ as when we worship in church and so forth. But, you know, prayer is like the communication, you get it like the telephone line to God. And, you know, through prayer and the quiet times when you're reflecting or you know, reading Bible verses, that's when you're kind of having the conversations. Now, God already knows what we're thinking and what we're already feeling and so forth. But, just coming to God with prayer, with praise and worshiping, that's really the time that we develop a relationship with God. And, it's kind of a two-way street. There's often times during prayer and quiet reflection that you kind of get like the messages and so forth, that lead you to different things in your life, that I just think it's a time to not only praise and worship God, but to help to make decisions and so forth too throughout your day.
Yeah. So again, from 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 18, but grow in the grace and grow in the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. To him be the glory both now and to the day of eternity. Amen. So again, the encouragement is to grow in our knowledge, right? To grow in the grace. Mm-hmm. From the book of Colossians chapter 1, verses 9 and 10. And so from the day we heard, we have not ceased to pray for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God. So again, we read about the importance of increasing our knowledge, of walking in the way in a worthy of our Lord, right?
Right. And I firmly believe in the power of prayer.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a significant thing in our life anyway, I know we have a group of prayer warriors who are just praying with us, praying for us, and helping us through that. And they know they can count on us, too, to be prayer warriors for them.
Well, and secondly, as we talk about growing in our spiritual life, we talk about, walking the talk. So the book of Colossians, chapter 1, verse 10, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God. So that walking the talk also does help us increase that knowledge as well. Alrighty, we're going to come back to this topic because we have more Bible verses to talk about growing in the Spirit, and maybe it's even more than a 1-week discussion here for us. But we've got a very, very important interview coming up as we have the Central League, York Central League's Vice President coming up to talk about the Central League, and we'll reflect a little bit about the quality of play in that league and what's going on and how you can get out to the Sandlot as well. And we'll be back right after this short break from our sponsors.
Hey, WOIK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are homes sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717.
When you have talent like this, you know we're gonna brag about it. From Colin Cowherd, Dan Patrick, Doug Gottlieb, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, Jonas Knox, Ben Maller, Rob Parker, Chris Broussard.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Jason Smith, RJ Bell, and Mike Carmen.
There's going to be some saltiness about that.
This is more than a lineup. This is the lineup. They live right here on Fox Sports Radio. This is The Herd.
Attention listeners.
With Colin Cowherd.
Favre and Aaron Rodgers are not the same person, but they're becoming the same Green Bay quarterback. You've seen those commercials, those Progressive insurance commercials where, you start becoming your parents. They're actually very, very funny. Aaron's becoming Favre, whether he wants to be it or not. He's getting kind of rigid. He doesn't want to change certain things. Favre got very rigid. I don't want to learn a new offense. Aaron's like, I want Randall Cobb and my 70-year-old quarterback coach. They're becoming the same guy, and I've always called this the Green Bay Packer quarterback syndrome. In Green Bay, the quarterback runs the franchise. If Aaron keeps mentioning, I don't know if I'm going to play, the team that gets him doesn't have to give up many picks. Because Aaron's not going to go play for a crappy team. He'll just retire. Tennessee's the team I put out there.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Wow.
Weekdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Can't get enough of the Birds? Sports Radio 98.9 and 1350 WOYK has you covered. Join us all season on Mondays at 6 for the Baltimore Baseball Show, hosted by award-winning Orioles and National Baseball writer Dan Connolly from The Athletic Baltimore. Exclusive in-depth interviews, plus the latest insight and analysis on the Orioles every week. Talking baseball and the Birds every Monday at 6. The Baltimore Baseball Show on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Naya kicks the pitch. Swung on. Hit deep. Left center field. Has he done it again? Has he done it again? He did it! Rhys Hoskins with a 2-run game-tying homer here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And it's 6-6.
You are on York's home for the Phillies.
And now, the Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
This is always tricky when you have to change your viewing patterns of finding something. But going to YouTube, NFL Sunday Ticket was launched in 1994, and it was on DirecTV. This was a godsend for DirecTV, and they've had it since DirecTV's inception. But the NFL and YouTube are now partners here. The traditional media is not going to play a role moving forward. We're seeing that. Just different places with, a lot more money and needing that content there. Yes, Todd?
They do need to figure out a way, if there is technically, where you can flip from one channel to another without having to have 9 different remotes. And
yeah, you kind of can. If you have, depending on what type of streaming TV you have, you should hit one
I don't think it's that easy.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Fox Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Go Long. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B. With us right now is the Central League Vice President, Judy Cutright. We gave you scores from the Central League, Susquehanna League, Interleague play, and other scores throughout the Central League. And we even reflected a little bit about the quality of baseball locally in the Central League and the Susquehanna League. Even though you got to admit the Central League's got a little upper hand here in interleague play so far. It's just great baseball. So Judy, thanks for being with us. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good. Well, first of all, the Central League is just great baseball. I was saying how my college coach used to say he would come down to Central League games to recruit high school players that were playing in the league. Players travel from throughout all of Central Pennsylvania. It's a good night out. How can baseball fans get access to a schedule of games so they can get out on a nice Tuesday or Thursday or Saturday and just watch good baseball?
We actually have a website. If you go into your internet and type in York Central League and then click on York Central League powered by league lineup, it brings up our schedule. You can see the teams and rosters, also the results of games and the standings.
Awesome. Now, tell us about the All-Star Game date and the location this year. That's always a big draw in the area.
It is a big draw, but both leagues have decided not to have an All-Star Game this year.
Oh, man.
Interesting. Wow, yeah. That'll be a miss, right? Right. Well, maybe that's what interleague play is, and I know there's bragging rights between the Central League and Susquehanna League and interleague play, and it seems like the Central League has the upper hand right now. Tell us about interleague play, and then also tell us about the end of the league tournament, please.
Well, Wait, you're the one who said Central League has the upper hand. Yeah. I'm no comment on that one.
All right. They do.
We do have interleague play. We actually have like 8 or 9 games, and the feedback on that has been really, really good. It's just good baseball.
Yeah.
So instead of getting an all-star game, where both leagues, are playing against each other, you now have 8 or 9 interleague games. So I think it makes it a little more, it's not just one day. If you can't make it to the All-Star game, it's you don't have to worry about missing anything because we have those interleague games.
All right. And how about the end of season tournament? Can you give us a little bit of information about that, please?
Depending on what information you're looking for, we always have the Tom Kerrigan Memorial Tournament Labor Day weekend. The past couple of maybe 2-3 years, maybe, or a little longer than that, we have expanded it to actually do the first day as pool play. It makes it a little more competitive, it makes it a little more interesting, and it gives teams more games to play. And I'm not saying the previous format was not working, but it was a double elimination, where this is, you're guaranteed at least 3 games instead of just maybe 1 or 2. So it makes it a lot interesting. We get like 16 teams. We get teams from New York and I think New Jersey and Virginia. We have 2 Central League teams come in and 2 Susquehanna League teams come in. So it is really good baseball.
And if you like baseball, that is days filled with baseball, basically from sun up to sundown.
Yes. Yeah. I tell my family, that weekend, do not call me because I'm on the baseball field. I'm at the one field all day long for 3 days in a row.
Well, Judy, how does one become the Central League vice president? Since you're
actually, it's funny because actually we voted Brad Chambers in as vice president this year, but I'm still secretary and I still run the website. It's just a matter of showing an interest in it. You can contact, if you're interested in becoming part of the league, you could contact our president, Mark Skehan. The really nice thing is you have the support of the league. I have never, being the only female on the board, I've never felt uncomfortable. It's a great group of gentlemen that, the board of directors, the officers, very supportive. Very, very supportive.
And just there for the love of baseball, right?
Do you want to know a secret?
Sure.
Okay. I'm not a big professional baseball fan. But I go to Reds games, I love watching the Reds, and I like watching our teams play. It's just fun and entertaining, and it's good baseball.
Yeah.
It's a family event.
And you don't have to break the bank to go, do you?
No, you do not. Definitely do not. Most of our fields, if not all of them, have concession stands.
Oh, and my kids used to know, I'd say, come on, we're going to Dad's game. Well, which one is it? And I'd say, oh, it's the one that has the good Italian water ice if we were going up to up to watch Mount Wolf play. And they would know by the playground and the concession stand which games we were going to.
Yes, and actually it's really interesting because as soon as those foul balls are hit, those kids are gone.
That's exactly right.
They are getting those foul balls. They love it.
Now, Judy, now you got me going because baseball is a game of statistics, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons the game's a great game. So the stat is what's the average foul ball price right now for bringing a foul ball back to the concession stand? It used to be 25 cents. Has there been inflation?
Some have 25, some have 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And I don't expect you to know this, but maybe the next time I get you on the air, I will expect you to know this. I want the average price of the hot dog in the Central League.
Okay. I can do that for you because I do go to each of the fields at least once during the season. I try and hit each of the fields. So I will have that for you the next time.
All right, next time. We're going to get you on before the Tom Kerrigan tournament. And I want the average price of the hot dog and the average price of a bag of peanuts. That's
stop
that's
it.
what I care
now
about.
you keep on adding more to her. Poor Judy.
All right.
Get that for you.
All right, I appreciate that. Talk about history. I played in both the Susquehanna League and the Central League. Now, this is going back to the 70s. But the game's changed. When you go down to Windsor, there used to be a big rock, about 3 feet behind third base in play. So you had to play up. If you played third base, you had to play like 3 feet in front of the rock, just to keep the bad hops away. When you went to the Conrads, you'd have the cornfield in left field. That if you had a little pop in your bat, you could hit a nice home run in left field and get a dozen ear of corn at the same time. It's just the fields have little quirks. The players, like you said, it's great baseball. You can hear them chatter in the dugout. Sometimes good, sometimes maybe cover your ears a little bit if you're under 16. But it's just fun. So, Judy? You tell us some of the uniqueness of the Central League that you see as you travel around.
The camaraderie.
Yeah.
And like you said, the chatting in the dugout. I don't mean to put this team on the spot, but if you ever go to a Jefferson game,
yeah,
just the chatting in the dugout, and all teams have that, but it's just the camaraderie is the big thing. And to just give you a little bit more information, I don't know if you know this, we are actually in our 92nd year.
Wow!
Woo! What a history!
Wow!
Yes, we at our last meeting, it was brought to our attention 92 years. I don't know if there's any other league, men's league, that can actually say that. And there may be. I haven't done the research on it. But 92 years is a lot. That is astronomical.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember, too, from going from one place to another, there's usually what I'll call a colorful character. There's usually somebody from each team that you go and you look for that person at the game. They have their special seat. They're just known for some of the things they say or some of the things they do when you're at that field. And I always looked forward to seeing if that person was still around and what they were doing. I think some of the fans have been coming not for 92 years, but for a long time.
Yeah, they have, and you can tell. But
yeah, now you go. Yeah, right. You go to Dover, you look for a guy without a T-shirt on sitting in the stands, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, you're right. Yeah.
And remember the dog that was at Dover often too. That would go and retrieve the foul balls. Yes.
Kevin McCleary's dogs, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned Brad Chambers. I mean, you can't be in the York Township area without knowing who Brad Chambers is, right? I mean, it's you go on and on. These are local heroes, many of them, but they supplement their teams with players that travel and come from college ball or whatever. And Mark Hendrickson came back to pitch in the Central League after his stint in the major leagues. Mm-hmm. You could just go on and on and on, right?
Yes, you can.
And some of the other history too, like there's often generations of the same family playing. I remember at one point on the Glen Rock team, Wayne and his brother Kim were playing. His cousin Al and his cousin Bud was playing. Bud's son was playing on the team too. There were 5 McCulloughs sometimes all on the field at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, it is just interesting to see the history of each team's history individually and the league combined.
Yeah. Again, Judy, give us the website location. I know you can get the schedule of games. They have a Hall of Fame listing of players. I enjoyed going there and just reflecting as I looked down through the names of the players in the Hall of Fame. Information about the Tom Kerrigan Memorial Baseball Tournament coming up. Tell us how you get that information one more time, please.
When you go into your internet, type in York Central League. And it's going to be York Central League powered by League Lineup. And click on that, and it takes you right into our webpage.
All right, just a great night out, my friends, and we could talk for hours, just reflect and have some good time here.
We don't have hours.
We don't have hours. But, Judy, let's go long. Tell us. Obviously, you're active here in the Central League community, but tell us about your faith journey.
I actually grew up in the church. After my grandmother passed away, I kind of I'm still a believer. I just kind of lost, as far as I don't have like a home. I have a home church. I just haven't gone for a while. But definitely my grandmother was the one who had us grow up, and my sister and I both grew up in the church.
Yeah, and what a reflection and what wonderful memories, right? As well.
Yes.
Well, Judy, first of all, thank you for all you do for the Central League and your involvement there. And you do it for all the right reasons. It's your love of exactly what you said. It's the love of just good quality baseball, but more importantly, just watching these men compete, but the camaraderie that you mentioned, the love of the game that they have, the community spirit that comes out when you go to one of these games. It pulls you in, right? I mean, I hate to refer to it as a black hole, but it sucks you in just like a black hole would, because of all the right reasons, right? And we'll let you have the last words.
Well, it's really interesting to watch a team develop, to watch a team that may only have 2 or 3 core players that come back year after year. They have new players, new high school players coming in, college players coming in, and just watch them as they grow through the season, where they get off to a rough start at the beginning, but by the end of the season, they're meshing. They have grown as a team, and that's the fun. That's the really fun part to watch as these teams grow throughout the season. And it's 13 weeks that they develop that camaraderie and that relationship.
Yeah. Judy Cutright of the Central League. Judy, thanks for being with us here on Go Long. We're going to get you back before the Tom Kerrigan Memorial Baseball Tournament, and we're going to get the average price of a hot dog and a bag of peanuts in the Central League. So look forward to having you back, Judy.
Thank you.
All righty, we'll be back after this message from our sponsors.
Hey, WOIK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are homes sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717-217-2188.
When you have talent like this, we're gonna brag about it. From Colin Cowherd, Dan Patrick, Doug Gottlieb, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, Jonas Knox, Ben Maller, Rob Parker, Chris Broussard.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Jason Smith, RJ Bell, and Mike Carmen.
There's gonna be some saltiness about that.
This is more than a lineup. This is the lineup. They live right here on Fox Sports Radio. This is The Herd.
Attention listeners.
With Colin Cowherd.
Favre and Aaron Rodgers are not the same person, but they're becoming the same Green Bay quarterback. You've seen those commercials, those Progressive insurance commercials where, you start becoming your parents. They're actually very, very funny. Aaron's becoming Favre, whether he wants to be it or not. He's getting kind of rigid. He doesn't want to change certain things. Favre got very rigid. I don't want to learn a new offense. Aaron's like, I want Randall Cobb and my 70-year-old quarterback coach. They're becoming the same guy, and I've always called this the Green Bay Packer quarterback syndrome. In Green Bay, the quarterback runs the franchise. If Aaron keeps mentioning, I don't know if I'm going to play, the team that gets him doesn't have to give up many picks. Because Aaron's not going to go play for a crappy team. He'll just retire. Tennessee's the team I put out there.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Wow.
Weekdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Can't get enough of the birds? Sports Radio 98.9 and 1350 WOYK has you covered. Join us all season on Mondays at 6 for the Baltimore Baseball Show, hosted by award-winning Orioles and National Baseball writer Dan Connolly from The Athletic Baltimore. Exclusive in-depth interviews, plus the latest insight and analysis on the Orioles every week. Talking baseball and the birds every Monday at 6. The Baltimore Baseball Show on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Naya kicks the pitch. Swung on, hit deep, left center field. Has he done it again? Has he done it again? He did it! Reese Hoskins with a two-run game-tying homer here in the bottom of the fifth inning. And it's 6-6.
You're on York's home for the Phillies.
And now, the Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
This is always tricky when you have to change your viewing patterns of finding something. But going to YouTube, NFL Sunday Ticket was launched in 1994, and it was on DirecTV. This was a godsend for DirecTV, and they've had it since DirecTV's inception. But the NFL and YouTube are now partners here. The traditional media is not going to play a role moving forward. We're seeing that. Just different places with, a lot more money and needing that content there. Yes, Todd?
They do need to figure out a way, if there is technically, where you can flip from one channel to another without having to have 9 different remotes. And
Yeah, you kind of can. If you have, depending on what type of streaming TV you have, you should hit one
I don't think it's that easy.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekdays 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Go Long. Gosh, it's nice to be with everyone this morning as we continue to build our community of faith-based lovers of sports, especially local sports. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B. We wanted to wrap up our high school York Adams League highlights from this year. And so next week we're going to do softball, but this week baseball. Just to wrap up how league play ended. Well, Dallastown took the Marbles in Division I with a 13-2 league record, 16-5 during the regular season. Then the boys from the Rock, Paper, Scissors, they put a little Rochambeau on Division II as they, with a division record of 12-2, as they won Division II. Bermudian Springs, the Eagles win Division III with a 12-2 league record, just one game up of the Fawn Grove boys of Kennedale. And then in Division IV, the Squires, the DeLone Catholic Squires with 11-4, they are winners of Division IV, just a game ahead of the Snacktown boys of Hanover. Becky B, give us a look at the tournament play in the York Adams League then.
Okay, opening up the tournament, Division I, Dallastown was facing Division II, Susquehannock, and Division III, Bermudian Springs, faced Division IV winners, DeLone Catholic. Interesting enough in this one, the lower divisions ended up winning both of them, with Susquehannock beating Dallastown 3-0, and then with DeLone Catholic also beating Bermudian Springs with a 3-0 score. And then finishing up the championship was won by Susquehannock 6-3 over DeLone Catholic Squires.
Boys from the Rock, Paper, Scissors, the Susquehannock Warriors with the league championship, 6-3 winners over DeLone Catholic, as Becky B said. All right, we want to point out also some just outstanding achievements from some of these baseball players. And Becky B, we'll alternate here, and let's just mention a few. And these are players that we talked about during our scoreboard show throughout the season, so it's nice to highlight them now.
So many good young players, though, playing across the county. It's really difficult just to pinpoint a few. There'll obviously be some we just don't have the time to talk about.
Nope, we're just going to give a few of them right now, and these are ones that we highlighted throughout the year. I'm going to start here with Red Lions 6'4" senior right-handed pitcher Jason Krieger. Well, Jason had an ERA of 2.86. He whiffed 60 batters in 49 innings. He's committed to pitch at the University of Maine coming up, so well done. And he's built like a pitcher.
Tall
6'4",
and lean.
Yeah. So I think he's got a good college career ahead of him. Jason Krieger. All right, Becky B.
All right, and we'll go to Red Lion again for the next one. The left-handed pitcher, junior A.J. Lipscomb. He is 6'1". His fastball is in the high 80s now, so just think he's only a junior. Think of how that may come along as he continues on and gets stronger faster and leaner. He had the team best 2.47 ERA on the mound in 39 and 2/3 innings. He had 11 appearances, striking out 45 and only walking 13. And, he didn't do so badly at the plate either. He hit .478, going 33 for 69 in 24 games with 2 triples, 9 doubles, and 30 RBIs.
Wow.
And he had a .536 on-base percentage and .666 slugging percentage. That's putting up some numbers there.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take the next one, Becky B, and I'm gonna go down to the Rock. I'm gonna take Susquehannock's ace left-handed pitcher, senior Joe Smith. He's when you look at speed, we talked to Kevin Stifler, who's the coach of the Spring Grove Rockets. He said, he doesn't throw the ball by people, on a regular basis, but he mixes pitches. He has a variety of pitches. He's got the ability to have great command on his pitches. He's 5'11". But at Susquehannock this year, he posted an 11-2 record. His ERA, 0.67.
Impressive.
0.67. 62 and a third innings pitched. He whiffed 81. And we talk about command. Well, in 62 innings, he only walked 16 batters. So when you have a strikeout to walk ratio of 81 to 16,
that's impressive.
So do the math.
Impressive.
That's
I can't do that math.
All right. Well, I'm going to do it for you. I haven't done it yet, but it's like 4.5 to 1. Close to that. Mm-hmm. Susquehannock's Joe Smith, left-handed ace. Well, what a pitcher! He's a senior.
Okay, let's hit the Rock again with Josh Preston, third baseman and middle infielder. He's a senior. He bats right and throws right. He hit .486. Wow. He was 35 for 72. So, that's pretty close to getting hit every other time you're up. 2 homers, 3 triples, 8 doubles, and 18 RBIs. No wonder the Rock ended up on the top of the YAIAA.
Well, we talked a lot about the Hanover Nighthawks, the Snacktown boys with their run in districts and state playoffs. They were led by the right-handed pitcher and infielder, senior Chase Roberts. Chase is 6 feet 1 inches tall. He batted .500. 33 hits in 66 at bats. He's got a great eye at the plate. He drew 20 walks, so his on base percentage for Chase Roberts, a Snacktown boy, was .655.
Woo!
.655, and on the mound he pitched 45 and a third innings with an ERA of 3.55. During the regular season, that included the playoff run in districts and states. His regular season ERA throughout the York Adams League was 2.41. From Snacktown, 6'1" senior Chase Roberts.
Yeah, and we talked about Chase in other sports as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What an athlete, right? And now let's go down to Kennerdale to Coy Swanson. And don't mean to be coy, Roy, as you say. Yes.
Roy.
He is a first baseman. He can also play in the outfield, though. And he bats left, throws left. Good place. First base is a good place for him there. He's going to be heading to Maryland here now, but he hit .484 with a .593 on-base percentage. Not only that, he slugged 6 homers, drove in 23, and scored 29 times during the season.
Well, this guy is a Division I college baseball player. He's got good size. He's got great bat speed. And here's the deal that separates him from many high school hitters. I shouldn't say a lot of guys. There are guys that hit 300, 400 in high school baseball. This guy hits the long ball.
Right.
When you talk about Coy Swanson, the Fawn Grove boy, he drives the ball. He has power in the gaps. He is a legitimate ACC Division I power hitter. So it'll be interesting following him.
Absolutely.
Next year as a Maryland Terrapin. Alrighty, hey, let's go down to Papertown. Pitcher Nick Vitale, he's a senior. Check this out. In 14 appearances, his ERA was 1.34, 47 innings pitched this year. His career ERA at Papertown, the Spring Grove, 1.66. Alrighty, Becky B. We're going to go long here in just a second again. Because we're running out of time.
Yes,
but I want to mention a couple coaches also. Kevin Lawrence, their team started out, they struggled early, and he kept delivering and kept working with his players. They ended up with a great season, Red Line Lions. So congratulations to Kevin Lawrence. Not often mentioned as some of the coaches of the year. Kevin Stifler, we had him on Go Long.
Yes.
I mean, that team fought and fought and fought, got better each week, ended up in district playoffs. Kevin Stifler is a teacher, right? I mean,
Yes,
he
he
is
is.
a teacher, and what a great job.
Good, strong skills, yes.
Yep. Joel Stoneberg coached the Susquehannock now 2 years in a row where they county championships as a repeat, so well done there as well. Okay.
You can see why the Central League's so strong. We just have a good history here in YAIAA as well.
Becky B, we only have a very time for short prayer. Friends, we're going to visit spiritual growth again next week. We let you down there a little bit today, but we're going to talk more about that. So a quick prayer as we wrap up today, please.
All right, dear Lord, we just thank you for this time together, and we just praise you, Lord, for all the mercies and all of the grace that you have shown us. And we just ask you, Lord, for your healing touch on those that are close to our hearts, especially for Caitlin Kajitsky as she battles through a head injury, a young teacher here who has been hit. And Lord, we just praise you and ask you to be with us this week. Amen.
The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B. for our sponsors, Red Barn Home Decor. Thank you to Kelsey Jean and Kylie Jane for Sports Radio 1350. We are saying go long.